Can you all hear me? Now I'm supposed to look at the cameras, but we got the whole crew over here. So forgive me as I look at them. I'm not trying to be rude, but thank you all for being here. I want to thank Supervisor Matt Dorsey for being here. I want to thank District Attorney Brooke Jenkins for being here. I want to thank Police Chief Bill Scott for being here, and Marissa Rodriguez, the CEO of the Union Square Alliance, Scott Rowitz, Executive Director of the Yerba Buena Partnership. I want to thank the arts and culture sector that is represented over here to our right, the hospitality sector as well, SF Travel, Alex Bastian. I want to thank Tyler Florence for being here. I want to thank our SEIU Local 87 janitors for being here. Really appreciate that. UFCW Local 5 is also here. And the building trades. I appreciate labor being in the house. Thank you all very much. So good morning, everyone, and thank you. Today we're gathered downtown, a place that we can all admit is not what it used to be. Anyone who grew up in San Francisco remembers going to Union Square for holiday shopping or seeing the tourists lining up for the cable car. This was the face of our city, and we are all still so proud of it. But I want our kids to feel that same sense of pride that we had growing up. Downtown's public safety challenges have hurt our economy, our businesses, and our workers. It has also hurt the morale of our city. Historically, our core hospitality area has been split between 3 police districts. This has already divided limited police resources across an area with unique public safety needs. But it is a new day in San Francisco. We are ready to face our challenges head on with a hyper focus on results. That's why today I am proud to announce the San Francisco Police Department Hospitality Zone Task Force. This Hospitality Zone Task Force will make downtown safe and kickstart our economy. The Hospitality Zone Task Force will supplement existing SFPD deployments, leveraging resources that were previously divided. The task force will also work directly with local businesses and hotels to ensure their needs are met, while helping visitors, shoppers, and convention goers get around safely. This new effort is part of our diversified strategy to get San Franciscans back to work, to clean up our streets, and welcome more people to our city. It will also coordinate with multi-agency entities like DMAC, which is currently active in the Tenderloin and on 6th Street. The task force builds on our work to end the hotel strike. It also complements our effort to fully staff the police department, the sheriff's department, and 911 dispatch, and to address the fentanyl crisis on our streets through our fentanyl state of emergency ordinance. San Francisco's tourism and hospitality industries are the lifeblood of our economy. These industries generate 75% of the city's economic impact. They provide tens of thousands of jobs and help fund the services that support residents in every corner of our city. Let me tell you, during the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference, I stopped by Union Square. It was packed. There was people taking up every coffee table in that square. The bars and restaurants, not just in Union Square, but here in Soma, were packed. I stopped by some after-hour parties. There was life everywhere. And I have to tell you, I loved every moment of it. That's how it should be 365 days a year. During that conference, the mayor's office, SFPD, sheriffs, the Department of Emergency Management, and other city departments executed an effective public safety plan with a constant, visible law enforcement presence. And it worked. The JP Morgan conference is coming back to San Francisco in 2026. The task force will be an important part of our public safety plan for next week when we have the Lunar New Year parade and we have NBA All-Star Weekend. But let's be clear, it's going to continue after that every single day. The Hospitality Zone Task Force will provide residents and visitors with the security they deserve 365 days a year. I am deeply grateful to all of our partners here today who have worked with us to get this task force off the ground, including the San Francisco Police Department, local business leaders, and our dedicated first responders. I also want to thank my colleagues at the Board of Supervisors who are here today and who voted overwhelmingly in favor of our fentanyl state of emergency. Supervisor, thank you for co-sponsoring that legislation. In this new era of collaboration, our potential as a city is sky high. While a safe, bustling downtown, we will attract businesses and visitors. We will create jobs, generate revenue, and provide better services for everyone in San Francisco. When downtown wins, we all win. Now it's my privilege to turn it over to Chief Bill Scott.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lurie. Let me begin my comments with thanking our Mayor, Daniel Lurie, for his vision on this Hospitality Zone Task Force. You know, we've proven as a city over and over again that we have what it takes to keep this city a great city, as it is and as it should be. I want to also thank Supervisor Dorsey. I'm not going to repeat all the thanks that the mayor gave, but I just want to call out a few people. Supervisor Dorsey, for your leadership. This has been something that you have been talking about for quite a while now, and I thank you for your partnership and support of Mayor Lurie's vision. Our District Attorney, Brooke Jenkins, who is an incredible law enforcement partner. We could not do our work without her support and the work that she and her office does. Also, Supervisor Sauter, who hit the ground running. And it's been an incredible first month for everything that you have brought to the table, so thank you. Melissa Rodriguez, who you'll hear from next, I want to thank you because you are an incredible partner. And without the Union Square Alliance, you know, we've worked through some very difficult challenges in Union Square, and I am so optimistic about the future because of you and your work and the work of your team. So with that, let's get down to business and talk a little bit about what we're here for, the Hospitality Zone Task Force. This is a vital initiative for us at the San Francisco Police Department because we know how important this corridor is, this area is to our city. It's important to our economy. It's important to the image of San Francisco. These are some of the most traveled and the most visited streets and corridors in our city. And it's very, very important, vitally important, that we are pristine 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not just for conventions, not just for conferences, not just for the NBA All-Stars, but every day. And quite frankly, we've had some challenges trying to do that. I am extremely optimistic with this footprint of the Hospitality Zone Task Force because two things. We will collaborate with all the work that we're doing and what Mayor Lurie mentioned, the DMAC work, all the different components, the Sheriff's Department who are here with us, the Probation Department, adult and juvenile, our federal partners. All that work will be collaborated into this zone to make a difference and to keep our streets safe and clean. And I think that is what we all want. So how will we do it? It will take multiple district stations who will come together to do their work collaboratively. And we've struggled with that in the past, but this task force model will alleviate some of the silos that we've seen in the past. As the mayor mentioned, we're talking about multiple district stations, but we haven't had this model before where we put those officers together to work side by side, collaboratively with all the other agencies that you see here before you. And that is the model that this task force will do every day, and this is going to be the basis of our success. A couple of other notes. The zone will be focused, and I'll read the streets out in a second, but this zone will be focused for the areas where our hotels are, a lot of our shopping corridors are, a lot of the tourists, when they come to our city and enjoy San Francisco, this is where they come. We want them to walk away with a beautiful experience. We want our residents who have struggled with street drug usage and drug dealers on the corner. That is no more. That is no more. Now, I'm going to say this clearly. We know that this work is not an overnight thing. We're not going to snap our fingers and all the problems that we have seen and endured will be gone tomorrow. But I can guarantee you this, you will see a noticeable difference with this task force, a noticeable difference, and you will see it very quickly. Mayor Lurie has been very clear with the direction that he wants this to go in, the sense of urgency that we need to get this work done, the collaboration that he and the people of San Francisco need to see in order to be successful. And we are crystal clear on that direction, and we are crystal clear on our mission, and we will get this done. We want people to feel safe. We have some of the lowest crime statistics that we've had in decades, but that is not enough. Is it evidence that we're doing some of the right things? Yes, it is, but that is not enough. I don't know of a mayor during my term, and you probably have to go way back in the records, that has had his first month with 0 homicides during his watch. Now, I'm going to say this very clearly. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but it's a great start. Car break-ins are down 70%, even from where they were last year. And last year was a record in reductions in car break-ins. So we know we have momentum. This is one more thing that's going to add to that momentum to get us to where we want to be. So as I close, here's what you can expect to see. We will have our command band stationed in the hospitality zone area. You've seen it in Union Square, that will remain, but Soma also is vitally important to our success. You will see resources, you will see uniformed officers, you will see Honda motorcycle officers, you won't see the plainclothes officers if we're doing our jobs right, but they will be out there making arrests. When drug dealers come to town, we have a message for them. Go back to where you came from, because it's not happening here. And that is, so we have a lot of work to do, and we are here for you. We want our city to thrive, not just survive, and that is what we plan on doing. So thank you, Mayor Lurie. Thank you for all of our partners in the community, the business community. And with that, I'd like to call up to the mic Melissa Rodriguez. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marissa Rodriguez. I'm the CEO of the Union Square Alliance. I first want to acknowledge those in this room. This is our lifeblood here in San Francisco, and I want to thank all of you for showing up, because you have continued to show up day after day after day to bring our city back. I see Neiman Marcus, I see Macy's, I see you, Rodney, from the Chamber, I see SF Travel, I see Brian Fenwick, our hotel community, our Hilton, our largest Hilton, Peter, I see you, and I know that everyone is here. Karen Flood, I see you as well. These are the pillars of our community who have been holding us up through the hardest times. The pandemic was not kind to us. I see you, Tyler, too. Thank you for bringing you back to Union Square to help us thrive. As I said, the pandemic was not an easy time for us, and we have had a difficulty emerging, especially with the negative narrative. But I'm going to tell you, in this last few months, I don't know, maybe roughly around November, things have changed. There is a feeling of optimism, and I want to thank our mayor for being here to support us. In 2022, the Union Square Alliance delivered its strategic plan for the district. We recognized the things that we knew we needed to, I see you, Marriott, that we needed to really come out of this and come out strong. This was a new era, a shift in how people experience life. It was different, and we needed to meet that moment. But first and foremost, the way that we do that is clean and safe. That was clear. That was number one. That is why you have a former prosecutor in this role, right? Second was economic development. But you can't have the economic development without the clean and safe. It has been a 2.5-year journey getting here. However, within 2 months of his term, not even that, we are here. And that is huge. And for that, I think this mayor deserves a round of applause. Thank you. San Francisco and our neighborhoods cannot come back unless we have a thriving downtown. And that is Union Square as well. This is the face we put forward. This is our iconic city center. This is where all of you come to work, where everyone comes to work. We want to come here feeling dignified. We want to feel safe on public transportation. We want to feel safe when we come in on BART. We want to be able to walk to work and spend a day at work and not worry that a car is going to plow through the door. We want to make sure that everyone feels like this is our community that we can be proud of. We are a world-class city. There is no place like San Francisco. The cable car runs through Union Square. We are going to protect it, and I thank you so much for your support. And our convention center. Scott, it is our partnership. This is how we bring our city back. We cannot move our convention center west of Twin Peaks. It is here to stay, and we are going to support it. And together, we are going to put our best foot forward so that people understand we are the city by the bay. We are the city that everyone loves, because we're amazing, and we're going to stay that way. Let's work hard. Let's do this together, and thank you again. And before I go on, I want to welcome and recognize our DA, another partner that has helped us. Thank you. It is not by accident that crime is down, because our police chief and our DA are working in tandem together to make that happen. This is incredible. This is an incredible time. Let's keep the momentum going. We feel it. We came off a great holiday season. It was like the light switch went off. People came in. We came off JP Morgan. It was a success. We're going to go into the NBA All-Star Game. It's going to be an even bigger success. We're going to have our Lunar New Year parade and maybe a statue. We'll talk about that later. My God, but we're going to make it happen because our city deserves it. Thank you so much, and welcome, Brooke Jenkins.
There is nothing better than having a former prosecutor be my partner in trying to turn Union Square around. I can say that we understand each other's language. But no, I'm honored to be here today to express my thanks and my support for this new Hospitality Zone Task Force. For the last almost 3 years, Chief Scott and I in particular have worked so hard for our departments to finally row in the same direction for the sake of our city, but to make sure that accountability and consequences were a common tone and theme across this city, and not only in this city, but across the world, so that people understood we are not a city that is tolerant of lawlessness. We are not a city that allows anything to go on our streets, but that we are going to get back to enforcing our laws in the way that they should be enforced, which is across the board. All crime in San Francisco is illegal. And that has been the case for almost 3 years. But what we know is that it's not enough for us to see the data that crime is dropping. People have to feel safe. And that's about your perception. And when streets are not clean, when they don't see police officers who they know are there to respond if something happens or to prevent something from happening, that data means nothing. And this hospitality task force is important and very significant, not only because of where they will be placed in our city, but because they will actually engage in foot patrols in these areas. And that is significant to point out. This isn't just officers who are there to respond to calls. These are officers who are intended, those who are not plainclothes, of course, to be visible and to be accessible to our tourists and our shoppers and our labor force who is coming to work here every day, so that they see the presence of somebody who is there with one sole purpose, and that's to keep them safe. Because when we have that aids in people saying, okay, the data is one thing, but now I can rest. I don't have anxiety as I'm walking down the street. I feel invited to come shop in Union Square because I'm not worried about my car being burglarized. I'm not worried about being robbed as I walk out of these designer stores with my bags. That is what is key. And so I just thank you, Mayor, for working with the chief and the board to make this happen. I know, Chief, that this has been an uphill battle with the low staffing that you're contending with, but that we have made this a priority so that we can get back to the point where we are fighting this narrative that's been painted of our city, and where we are actually making positive experiences, not only for those that visit, but as I talk to labor all the time, for those who work here and live here. That has to be the case, because otherwise we'll continue to see store closures and we'll continue to see hotel vacancies, and that is something we just cannot sit by and watch. And so thank you all for your partnership, and I'll continue to do my job to make sure that we have consequences for those who don't get it right. And I will now turn it over to my district supervisor, actually, Matt Dorsey.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And welcome to District 6. This isn't just my district. This is part of my stomping ground, and this is where well, usually I'll point to the gym and say that's where I work out, but the reality lately is it's where I pay a membership and occasionally go. My parish church is St. Patrick's. My weekend office is the Grove, so you see me here a lot. So welcome, everybody. And when you come to this neighborhood, you really have to express a debt of gratitude to the Soma Filipinas Cultural District and Raquel Rodon Diaz. This is the heart of that district. And I just want to say, you know, when the history of this time is written, you know, with all the economic struggles, it was the cultural districts that really stepped up and carried us forward, and I really think Soma Filipinas, as much as any other in the city, did that. I want to express gratitude also to the House of Labor and the people who are here, from the janitors and Local 87. We've got sprinkler fitters, electric workers, is IATSE here, Local 2, hotel workers. So much of the safety work that we do is also for the people who come here to work, and I want to express our gratitude to that. Early in my tenure as a member of the Board of Supervisors, I opened up the hood on police redistricting, working with Chief Scott and his team. And one of the things that we found when we looked at other cities that depend on economic activity for destination activities like tourism and conventions is that San Francisco is unique in being a city where you might get up at your hotel room in Union Square and you're in one police district, you cross Market Street and you're in another police district, and you go to the convention center and then you're in yet another police district. There is a better way to do this, and I really appreciate the leadership of Mayor Lurie in recognizing that, and in his first month acting on it to fix it, to make sure that we're coordinating better and doing everything that we can to protect and better serve the economic interests of this city with this groundbreaking task force. I also appreciate Mayor Lurie's leadership in recognizing that this is one step in a process that necessarily includes getting to full staffing in our police department, our sheriff's department, 911 operators. And also something that a hearing that I announced this week that I'm going to be holding, we have to also make sure that one key element in our public safety infrastructure is prosecutors. We have to have a conversation. Too often, the district attorney's office is left out of that conversation, so we're going to have a hearing on that to discuss their needs as we go into a difficult budget year. So I'm really excited about this innovation, and I'm also excited about some of the colleagues that I get to work with, and one that I'm particularly excited to be working with, somebody that I supported right out of the gate, Danny Sauter from District 3.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Supervisor Dorsey. Mayor Lurie, thank you. My name is Danny Sauter. I'm your new District 3 Supervisor, and so excited about this because it includes a lot of District 3 in Union Square and parts of the financial district. But I first want to say thank you to the men and women behind me in our pink jackets. I want to ask for another round of applause for them. You know, our ambassadors around the city, whether they're in a pink jacket or an orange jacket or a yellow jacket, they're some of my favorite people because wherever they are immediately making sure that that corner, that block, that neighborhood is safer, it's cleaner, that there is a friendly presence there, often a friendly smile to make sure that visitors and tourists know where to go. And with today's news, we're saying that more help is on the way. We now have more resources and more coordination from our police department and other partners to make sure that this area, this really, really important area, is safer. You know, I think there's a realization from all of us up here that so much of the impression of San Francisco and so many of the memories from San Francisco are made in these surrounding blocks. And we want them to be good memories, right? We know that these are folks that go back home and go back to their companies and they say, they're always asked, how was San Francisco? We want it to be good news. We want it to be tales of riding the cable car along Powell Street. We want it to be the great jazz at John's Grill. We want it to be the ice skating at Union Square and the Winter Walk. I mean, that's what we want. And so with today's news, we're one step closer to that. And it comes at the perfect time. These next few weeks, the world's eyes will be on San Francisco as we celebrate our incredible annual Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year parade. Starting in Union Square and going into Chinatown, we have so much activity for the NBA All-Star Game, although it's going to be at Chase Center. I've been seeing pop-ups up and down Union Square of different companies that are here to celebrate that with us, and we want it to be an incredible experience. Today's news, make sure it will be. Thank you.
Once again, I want to thank all of our community leaders, business, arts, culture, entertainment, August Hall in the house. And so thank you all for being here. We're happy to take a few questions.
If members of the media have questions, we'll call in. Can you explain how these zones are covered now and what it's actually going to be changing?
So what is going to be changing is additional officers. The zones are covered now. This area is covered by a sector car, which is 2 officers who not only have a responsibility of a pretty large piece of real estate, but they also have the responsibility of handling radio calls. It's really hard when you're going from call to concentrate on problems, to problem solve. These hospitality zone officers will not be assigned radio calls. Their focus is to problem solve, to make sure when they see something that we address it before it becomes a problem, and that alone makes a huge difference. And we have not been able to do that the way we would like to do that. And this effort will allow our officers to have the time they need to actually prevent problems from becoming problems and to focus on the things that they need to focus on. So that's a fundamental, huge change. The other thing is the coordination. Union Square, we've had deployment in Union Square. We've upped that. We know about some of the past problems, but looking forward, since we have upped our deployment, assigned a lieutenant who will still be working that detail with his officers, they will combine with the officers that work the SOMA, and there will be daily coordination, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the same thing goes for the Union Square officers. They're not assigned radio calls. They can pick up radio calls if they're in the area, if they're right there where a crime occurs or something is happening, but they're not assigned radio calls. And we've seen that that is a very effective way to police, to prevent things from happening. The other thing that's different are resources that have been assigned to DMAC. They've been basically the same zone concept as what we've been using with DMAC, but to have the availability of, for instance, the homeless support team, the HSOC, the Healthy Streets Operations Center, which has officers and it also has a component of professional staff type of personnel who they problem solve. We try to get people back home who want to get back home. We try to get people connected to the services they need so they're not out on our sidewalks. So the collaboration with this task force and that team is something that we have not really opened the DMAC model up to the rest of the city because we want to grow smartly. But now it's time. So they'll have access to those resources and other resources. So collaboration is the key. These officers won't be able to do it all by themselves. That's why we have all of our partners standing behind us. Our ambassadors play a huge role. But it has to be coordinated. So better coordination, more resources, you will see more visibility, the ability to problem solve effectively because they're not assigned to radio calls. And quite honestly, when I was in patrol, when you're working a patrol car, your responsibility, first and foremost, is to go to those calls when people need us. It's really hard to do that and then do problem solving. So this is the model that we're going to go to make sure that those officers have the time they need to solve our problems.
How many officers and how many law enforcement personnel will this take and where will they come from?
The key is our ability to scale things. So Union Square, the officers at Union Square, it goes from 10, and we've had as many as 40. We scale it when we need to scale it. This Soma area is a total of 10, working 7 days a week, but we have the ability to add to that when we need to scale this model, and we've done that. For instance, during the holiday season, we scale up. If we have a conference or a major convention, we scale up. Our problem has been consistency, and what the mayor's vision will do is there will be police officers assigned to this zone 7 days a week. No excuses, nothing will prevent us from deploying. And we have had problems doing that, so we're going to dedicate these resources. And let me say this too, because you may ask, well, how come you didn't do this before? We have about a 25% shortage in our staffing in patrol. And we have to prioritize our resources. And so with the new vision, setting priorities, yes, it comes at a cost. But we'd like to start this off bigger, but we started off with a model that we know we can scale when we need to. And that's how we will start this off. The mayor was quite clear, this has to happen now. And I think this is a great way to start, but we will scale it when we need to. As a matter of fact, in 2 weeks, you'll see it scale, or in a week when the NBA All-Stars, when those festivities start.
Chief Scott, we talk a lot about the feeling of downtown, whether or not people feel safe, but what are the specific benchmarks this task force will use to measure the success?
Well, one of the things that we know, and I think District Attorney Jenkins mentioned this, and I think we all mentioned it, starting from the mayor, I call it the eye test. When you get off the BART and you see 200 people in UN Plaza or 200 people here in Yerba Buena, and anything and everything is happening, drug sales, drug use, illegal vending, hot dog carts, there's a feeling of it doesn't feel safe. First and foremost, that cannot happen. We cannot allow those types of things to happen. The other thing is, crime statistics don't tell the whole story, but it does tell somewhat of a story because when people aren't getting robbed, when their cars aren't getting broken into, when people aren't getting shot and stabbed, that's where crime statistics are derived from. When those things aren't happening, overall, people are going to have better experiences. And the combination of what you see, what you feel, and then what we know is happening in terms of crime or not happening in terms of crime, all those things combine to a feeling of safety. The other thing is the narrative of what people's experiences are, because all it takes is a bad social media post about somebody's terrible experience to go viral, and then that permeates with what gets in people's minds about our city. We want, as best we can, to eliminate the possibility of that happening. Now, that's going to be a lot of work to do that, and not to say that there won't be crime, but we know certain things we cannot allow. We cannot allow the streets to be out of control with illegal vending, narcotic sales, narcotic uses. We have a lot of mentally ill people walking around our streets. That's the other thing. The resources to help those people will be tied into this collaborative partnership, and we want to make sure those resources get to the people that they need to get to. So thank you.
I'd also just like to talk about, all the business leaders down here and, occupancy rates, storefronts not being shuttered but actually being opened. We will look at all of those statistics in terms of measures of success.
Mr. Mayor, if you will, quick news of the day. I'm curious, Attorney General Pam Bondi said that she's going to cut away federal funding towards sanctuary cities. How much does San Francisco stand to lose
Listen, we're monitoring everything coming out of DC. This was we were hit with this about 8 years ago. We fought back. We actually won in the courts. And so City Attorney David Chu is working on this as we speak. Listen, talking to colleagues at the Board of Supervisors over the last month, what we have stated early and often in my administration is we are going to have a new day and a new era of cooperation and collaboration. I'm looking for commissioners across commission appointments who will work with us, that will collaborate and that will communicate. And I look forward to the support going forward of all of the commission appointments that I make. Yeah.
Well, let me answer the overtime. No, these officers are assigned to this task force 7 days a week. We can scale up using overtime, which we often do because of our staffing shortages. In terms of communications, yes, that's one of the tenets of this is communications across the board between districts. The task force, the two components of it have to communicate. And I'll just add to this, what helps our communications now is our flock cameras that we have across the city, our drones, where we're able to track cars that are committing crimes in Union Square when they come to Soma or any other part of the city. And we've been able to make some great arrests because we are communicating properly. So yes, communication is a part of this. The officers are assigned full-time, and we can scale up using overtime when we need to. So thank you.
So quick questions. One is, when's the task going to start? And it seems that it's going to be soon because you have all these events coming. Or
It started. It started last weekend.
okay, and then what are you going to do? Because the perception of security is also, especially in the hotel areas, are the mentally ill people.
Yep.
Said that's the biggest thing here. So how can we be really visible? Make that, take care of that, or be so close, say, to Union Square where you have all the hotels too close up.
Well, this is where I want to thank the supervisors. We just passed the fentanyl state of emergency ordinance 10-1. It's going to allow us to stand up more mental health beds, more drug treatment beds, more shelter beds, hire more case managers, more first responders more quickly. So we are tackling that issue. I want to reiterate what the chief said. All of these things will not happen overnight, but we put one foot in front of the other, have a successful JP Morgan Healthcare Conference like we did, have a successful Lunar New Year weekend, which we plan to do next weekend, NBA All-Star Game, and then we start inviting the world back to San Francisco and telling them that we are open for business. We are working day and night together with everybody that you see up here. This is really, truly a new era of cooperation between departments, between labor, between the business community, the arts community, and I'm looking forward to continuing on the momentum. We'll get you a map. Okay, thank you all. Thank you to everybody from the community for being here.